but they're still encouraging them to get married. And in our mind, like, you're more surprised if they like, you're like, dog, I'm gonna go ahead and propose this weekend. Like, really? Like, okay, like,
yeah. Didn't y'all break up last weekend?
we all, I think for guys, we already can tell how he feels about her and how committed he is to entering a great marriage or a potentially great marriage. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I'm Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg, joined my co-host Buff and Razi's. Fellas, what it do?
College football 25. I just want to say to all the ladies out there that have lost their boyfriends and spouses and significant others for the last week and a half, I'm not sorry, because we've waited 10 years for it, and EA had 2.2 million people pay $30 extra so that they could play it for 3 days early. Like, that's how excited people were for this game. So I just want to say, good job, EA. I've been on it hard. I'm trying to bring UAB back, have a dynasty. We're going to go to the college national championship within the next 2 years. That's my commitment to, go to the college national championships. But one thing I will want to call out is there's no SEAC or SWAC in the game, and so I think that was a big miss for them. I know there's a lot of folks that would want to take fam and through this dynasty and that type of thing, or Miles College or somebody like that. So I think that was a big miss that they didn't put them in there. But other than that, it's a great game, man. I mean, they're doing everything right. There's some bugs, there's some glitches, and they're working through them. But ultimately, it's just a fun game, and people are really, really enjoying it. So good job, EA. So that did want to touch on Deadpool and Wolverine. I know I went and saw it just now. Buff, you said you just went and saw it. Spoiler-free review. It's really good. It's super funny. You're gonna enjoy it. I highly recommend to go see it. I'm gonna stop there. See, Ferg, I cannot spoil things. Buff, how'd you like it? Tell the folks what you thought.
I thought it was great. I laughed damn near the whole movie. There were some kids in my showing that I went to. I wouldn't recommend you take 4 and 5 year olds. No, that's just me. But it was great. I told Ferg, it gave me that Marvel is back type feel, man. It was that good to me. Yeah,
definitely. And I agree with you on the don't take the kids. I took Sophie and Ollie. They walked out. I mentioned to them, I was like, you guys probably heard more curse words in the last 2 hours than you've heard your entire life. And I think it's true. So that's something. It's a lot of cursing in there. It's a lot of sexual innuendo. It is. It's a hard R. So just put it like that. So as long as you're comfortable taking your kids to something like that, or you're comfortable with them hearing it, fine. But yeah, it's definitely a hard R.
Yeah, my kids won't be going.
Yeah.
Breaking news, Razio's quarterback, Jordan Love, just became the highest paid QB in NFL history. 4 years, $220 million.
Ooh. All right.
That playoff run did him well. Damn.
Yeah. Green Bay just throwing that money out there.
Man.
So.
Was that all you had?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Do we want to get into Sonia Massey, or you guys going to talk about her at all?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
So for the folks who've been living under a rock,
police are trash.
Huh?
You heard me.
So Sonia Massey I think she was 35-year-old woman, called the police for what she thought was, somebody just prowling outside her house or whatever. They come in the house and literally she has a pot of water boiling. She says, one of the cops say, "Hey, get that off. You might start a fire while we're talking to you." She goes over, pours the water out. The other cop says something to her. She says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." And he decides that that's enough for him to shoot her in the face, and literally killed her. So that's what's happening right now. It's sad, man. Luckily, the sheriff's department that he worked for fired him, and they've actually arrested him. He's being held without bond. So at least we may get some type of justice out of this one. We'll see. But it's just sad, man, that, he had a whole lot of red flags. He had a whole lot of things that showed he shouldn't be on the force. And he still got on the sheriff. He had been at 6 different agencies in the last 4 years. So, it's wild to think that he was still on a police force after not being able to, and he was dishonorably discharged from the military. So he had a dishonorable discharge from the military. He had been through 6 different agencies, and he's still out on the street. I know at times it's hard to try to fill positions, but we got to do better. Police, you're policing. So, Buff, you got anything to say on that one? Because I see you lean forward.
Oh no! I wanted Ferg to repeat what he said in case the listeners didn't.
Police are trash.
Yeah. So that is an honest reaction. I'll just say this, because you said pretty much everything I would have liked to have said, Razi. This won't hold up legally, like it's not against the law, but the things that they were saying while their body cam was recording isn't going to do him any favors if this goes to trial or whatever. Like the way he was talking about her and stuff, when you thinking about a jury and stuff, yeah, that shouldn't be counted in deciding his guilt or innocent, but I don't see how that can help any. And the way he was talking, I think is really like, if it's on the line of we're going to find him guilty or not guilty, that could actually tip the scale, I think. Because even with George Floyd, I forget the officer's name, just how, people were saying, "Hey, get up." He stopped moving. He stopped that, get up. I think just his whole attitude towards it, like just not caring and stuff. Our justice system is based off humans. At the end of the day, it's based off human beings determining your guilt or innocent, and stuff like that can sway them. So, I don't know why they even were in the house. I know they came there for that original call. They searched outside. They didn't find anything. I think the other partner was getting ready to leave until the other one went inside the house. So just a bad situation. And once again, it just seems like we're always on the wrong
side. That's your only question? I'm still trying to figure out why their guns were drawn. I mean, it's. I mean,
because she rebuked him in the name of Jesus. That's why.
Black Jesus. I'm not.
Somebody said when she rebuked that demon came up out of him. So there's so many things wrong with that. The whole interaction in the situation, right? Like he literally said, "I'll shoot you." Before he even drew his weapon, like after she said it. And then the report, the other part about it is they wrote the report like she had the pot and like tried to throw it on them, and they, the hot water was, they were defending themselves. And then when you see the video, she didn't even pick the pot up. She poured the water out and she had the pot holders in her hand when he drew on her, and then he still fired without. It's just, man. That one hurt my heart. It really did hurt my heart watching it. I know, Buff, you say you try not to watch it, or Ferg, I can't remember which one of y'all said y'all try not to watch the videos. I don't watch anymore.
Any of them. Like, it's pointless. I mean, water's wet. Like, it's what else do you need to see? She had a pot. Or she didn't have a pot. I mean, is that it's going to be the same fear for their life, all this stuff? I mean, you've heard it once, you've heard it twice. Like, if you see my face, is how I feel about it. It's it's like, I don't even know if it makes sense to get in an uproar, right? Like, do we march? If we march, are more people going to get hurt, and it's just going to detract from the heinous crime that was committed? They're going to deflect and talk about, not supporting the police and all this stuff, and I don't even know what to do. So, I mean, I don't even do I even say my heart goes out to the Massey thing? I don't even know what to do anymore. It's just like, we've been there, ditto. I guess that's my response.
Dang. Yeah. So, but that's all I had, man, other than Kamala, because we haven't recorded since that came out. So that's huge news. So I think she found her theme or for her campaign. She in her kind of first interview, she was like, "We're not going back." I think that's an awesome thing if she keeps that for her campaign, to say we're not going back. And so that's a really cool one. I know they're using like Freedom right now, whatever. She just dropped her first commercial with Beyonce in the background. Obama and Michelle came out and endorsed her just today or yesterday, I think. So it's been a whirlwind last week and a half with her announcing and everything like that. So I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for her. I think it's going to be really good for the Democratic Party to have a candidate that they can rally behind, because Joe wasn't it. Oh, and I want to say that I called Joe waiting too late. Now, I don't think it was intentional, but I did call that Joe was going to wait too late and that it was going to have to end up being Kamala because he was going to pull out too late for anybody else to jump in. So I want to take a little credit.
So you took my Sonia Massey, so I'll just go with Tyler Perry.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were going to say more on Kamala. I don't want to leave that because I have some things to get off my chest. It's amazing how, I'm not even say Trump supporters, I'm just saying how people are talking about her being underqualified when the former president had not one qualification. Like, not one. Like, if there was just a list, if this was a job posting.
He was a businessman.
Wait, what? 4 bankruptcies, 5 bankruptcies, bunch of failed businesses.
Steaks.
I mean,
casinos.
How many kids does he have?
Oh, that I don't
5,
know.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that.
So, everything that the American public or the right stands for, he just is the complete opposite of it. He's had 5 kids with 3 different women. If that was Kamala,
they'd be like, "Oh, she's a baby mama." They're already trying with the whole DEI hire, right? Like,
she's a whore. They I just can't believe that they're, that's the route they want to take about qualifications. And I'm going to take us, and I thought I was going to wait to the end, but I want to get it off my chest now because I'll bring it back out. I'm going to ruffle some feathers with this, but black men, you're on the clock.
What does that mean?
You're on the clock. There's a lot. This is one of those, if you're, there's always that conversation that we don't support black women. We don't support or we don't protect. I don't even have to say you're a fan, have to be a fan of Kamala. If you can find a way to put Trump in all his Trumpness ahead of this, I mean, because I've seen a lot of posts and I've seen a lot of negative talk about her, and it's just like, sometimes you just gotta, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Like, this is one of those times. Let's go back to 3rd grade. And I'm not saying that sometimes it's just better to remain quiet.
The internet has killed that.
I feel like this is one of those times.
Social media has killed that.
The opposition and everything that's going on, and I've glanced over Project 2025, and even though it is not Trump's policies, there's a lot of correlation to the things he's supporting and the things that are on that proposal. And I haven't seen anything. Maybe I'll let the media or whatever get to me, but I haven't seen anything positive. And for us to still, because we have something to say or we don't supposedly like her or we think she's underqualified, we're willing to almost not even support the opposition, but it helps opposition more than it hurts, right? Like anything negative against her helps Trump.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling everybody this is who you have to vote for, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes you just got to pick your poison.
I think other than red pill YouTubers, black men are showing up already.
There's a lot. There are a lot. I will say that.
Yeah.
I've seen calls. I've been on a couple calls. Well, I've been on one call in particular. But there's a lot. But then you have that, it's, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going to have to see the data, but I'm not going to, because they tried to blame black men for Stacey Abrams in Georgia, and that is factually incorrect. Black men did support Stacey Abrams, and I'm not going to take it if Kamala does lose. Unless I see data that shows we did not support her, I don't want to hear it. Just, blame white women, blame white men. It's not black men unless I see the data.
Okay, I hope you're right. I'm not too big to say I hope you're right.
Yeah, because that is the narrative on Stacey Abrams. And when presented with the facts, they still say, I still don't think. What do you mean you still don't think black men? I'm showing you the numbers right here. I
support facts. I'm a huge supporter of facts.
I don't think it would be black men not supporting Kamala. I think worst case scenario is black men getting disenfranchised or starting to feel some type of way about Democrats in general, right? Like there are black people that are going over to the Republican Party because they got their stimmy, and they really legitimately feel like they had more money in their pocket. Which for some people, it did feel like they had more money in their pockets when Trump was in office, because I posted some of what they call Biden's numbers, and food prices are up like 35%. Housing prices are up like 40%. Like real take home pay for folks that are living check to check, it's hurting them right now. Like when you talk about their rents going up, when you talk about food prices going up, when you talk about gas prices going up, those things that they actually spend on every day, day in, day out, are way more expensive, and their wages didn't rise like that. So for them, they are feeling like it was better under Trump than it was under Joe Biden. And I mean, we can't discount that feeling, because it for somebody living check to check, it probably does feel that way. Go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we just gotta another way to show up for her though is to combat the myths and lies. I was just talking to someone the other day, and they was mentioning, man, she locked up a lot of brothers. When I said, let me stop you right there. It's not true, brother. I said, I'm gonna need you to do the research. I said, don't get me wrong, I have heard that myth. I said, I believed in that myth, as a matter of fact, at one time. But once you look into the actual raw numbers, it is not true. And you gotta go look it up. So we gotta do our parts to educate people, because the narrative is out there about her. So
I think that's where I was going, because I've heard. That's what I've heard. Like it's.
And
I've heard a lot of
red pill. She's married to a white man, so they're gonna use that. She's not. I've seen Elon Musk is more African American than she is, because neither one of her parents are from Africa. Just all kind of things like that. So we just got to be ready to combat. Now, they still may not vote for her, but I've been telling people, don't let any misinformation slide.
Right.
Check their ass in real time.
Yep. Need to walk around with those little fact check boxes underneath yourself. Like, nope, that's not true. That's not true. So we definitely have to kind of combat that every time, and it gets exhausting. Not even gonna lie, because I was going in on a dude. I think Monday or Tuesday, like all day Tuesday, I was just going back and forth with him on Facebook under one of my homeboy Lenny. He posted something, and dude just kept kind of coming back at it. And finally, he was like, I get it. Republicans are the enemy. I'm like, well, why are you even throwing all this random shit out here if the Republicans are the enemy? Why are you even trying to second guess Kamala? Right? He was like, oh, it's not a bad thing for taxes to go up. And he was like, DEI is a worthless position in companies, and like all this like Republican talking point stuff that I was just like, dude, this is not what you want. Like, to come talk to me about stuff like this. Like, I was mad talking to him. So yeah, we got to stop all that, man. Like, anytime you get a chance to do it, just go back at them.
I was going to start off what I was going to say with Tyler Perry, but before I get to that, and this will be, well known by the time this episode drops, so I'll go ahead and say it. But I've had another loss in the family. My Uncle Fred just got word that he passed away earlier today, so pulled up a little something for him, man.
Condolences.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, man.
Was very close to him when I was younger. As you get older, you kind of grow apart. But man, definitely rest in peace to him. And I'll be reaching out to my cousins actually, and see how they're doing. But I just wanted to put that out there. What I was going to say about Tyler Perry though was he dropped a new movie. I forgot the name of Divorce in Black, and he got like a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm not saying that to celebrate that. I'm saying that to say, I think it was Lonnie Love who said exactly how I felt. I can't quote her because I don't have the tweet in front of me, but she said pretty much she's happy because I'll give Tyler Perry this. From what I've heard, he pays his actors and actresses well. Like I've heard a lot of actors say that's the biggest check I've ever received for a movie, and he looks out for a lot of lesser known or forgotten actors. So I will give him that credit. And she echoed that. But she was like, can you please take some of the other money that you've made and hire a writer or two? And I agree. It's like,
yeah,
I refuse. I won't even watch his stuff. I don't even want to give him the clicks anymore, because what I'm seeing now is people continuing to watch his movies, but continuing to complain about. Stop watching his stuff, because if he continues to have that core audience, he has no reason to change. He has no reason to hire writers. If you're going to keep watching it and keep putting the money in his pocket, I would get rid of that overhead too. He has no incentive to hire writers or producers. He has every incentive to do everything that he's doing right now. Stop watching his stuff and make him do better, because I would love to support the brother. He has a good story. Not in his movies so much, but in real life, He has a good story, how he brought himself up. So that's what I would say if you're someone that routinely watches.
Where was it featured? Was it on Netflix?
This one was on Prime. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was one of the most top stream movies though.
Yeah. Yeah. Because people, they watch it and then they come back and complain about the wigs, or about the simplistic storyline, the predictable storylines, the over-the-top storylines, but you keep watching it. So he like Master P doing the No Limit days when they was dropping a CD every month, man. It don't matter if it's good or bad. You gonna buy it.
He's the reason Tubi is a channel. He gave Tubi hope.
Yeah. So that and the only other thing I got, it kind of touches on Kamala a little bit. Vice President Kamala. Fox News never change. I mean, it's wild how I want to let people know this, because I know the listeners probably think we're so liberal. There was a time I watched Fox News. You can ask my wife. I watched Fox News every night for about 10 years. I would watch Bill O'Reilly and then Hannity and Combs before it was just Hannity. Every night. And I started because when Bill O'Reilly had that beef with Ludacris and made Pepsi fire Ludacris, I was like, who the hell is Bill O'Reilly? And so I checked them out, started watching. I say all that to say, I stopped watching it after I watched it for 10 years, because it was no longer And it became predictable, like Tyler Perry's movie. I know every talking point they're going to come out with. I know every game they're going to play. I know how they're going to say something racist or whatever and then put a question mark behind it to just say, hey, we're just asking. Is Obama from America? I don't know. You tell me. That's the kind of shit they do. But they trip me out because they show one of VP Harris's first speeches once Biden stepped down. One of her first speeches where it was literally like, I just want to thank everybody. Hello, I'm in the race now. I want to win. They showed like the first 2 minutes of it. And then they cut away and said, the people there seem excited, but she didn't say anything about what she wants to do. What's her stance on this and what's her stance on that? Since when the fuck does a politician state their goddamn presidential plan? Yeah, in a speech. Are you kidding me? And then y'all suck on 45 so much. He says, I'm going to end the war in Ukraine in one day. No details. And y'all don't say that. Y'all don't say nothing. But you show 2 minutes of her 15-minute speech and say, hey, no details. So never change Fox News. Y'all have remained, even without watching you, I know everything y'all gonna say.
Love it.
That's all I got.
Well, on a lighter note, Buff, I want to personally come on here and thank you for everything you did last week. Anybody knows me, one of my passions is of the Houston Lamplighters, and I had the privilege of taking these young men to Washington, D.C. last week. We got there Wednesday till Sunday, and Byron gave us a hell of a tour. For a lot of them, that was a highlight of the trip, and I just want to thank you for everything you did. Just so proud of you, man. It was funny because I was telling them about how long I've known Byron, and one thing I always talk to them about is networking. And a lot of times when we talk about networking, they think we're talking about people older than them, right? Like and building relationships. So they're looking like, hey, let me get Byron's number. Let me get this person's number. Not understanding that the person standing next to them 32 years later can be this impactful, have that connection that we had. And so it was full circle when I was able to use you as an example of somebody I met first day of school, 6th grade, first period. And we started bonding and building a friendship since that day. And fast forward 32 years. And of course I got a couple of times, but I said, I've known him for a long time. It was like, what, 10, 15, 20 years? I'm like, if it was only that, if you only knew. And so I finally told them, and they were just surprised that, for most of them, it's more than half their life. Twice as long as they've been alive. But man, thank you. And it's weird because as I was in DC, Byron made his way to Houston. So
right,
we got to connect, but we missed each other. Either way, so thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. I just want to give a shout out to the parliamentarian for helping make that trip. And it's funny too, because I had to send her the list of the names for the people that were coming. And she saw your name. She's like, oh, I get to meet Ferg?
So she didn't do that.
She absolutely did that. She absolutely did that, man. And she enjoyed that, man. She was like, I hope I didn't talk too much. I hope I didn't do this. I'm like, I said, Elizabeth, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to take a picture with her.
That was so cool, man. That was so cool, man. That's a good group of young men y'all got there, Ferg.
I appreciate it, man. It's a beautiful thing. It's draining, but it's a beautiful thing. And like I said, thank you, Byron. Thank you to all the people who played a part in, of course, my team, the young men, but Bowie State, Howard University. We got to go to the White House. We went to Six Flags. The brothers of Upsilon Psi who came and supported. Thank you to Kappa Psi. Thank you to Pi Gamma. like that let us use their frat house. It was just a beautiful time.
Yeah.
We went to the National African American History Museum. I couldn't complain. We did a nature walk. I mean, it was just a really great event. That was probably one of my favorite things that we did, is to see these young men and let them get out in nature and relax. And we had a sit down powwow and just kind of had guy talk for about an hour and a half, and let them voice what was going on with them, and building bonds and breaking down barriers and everything like that. And it was just being in such a peaceful, serene environment allowed them to get out and get even people who don't speak up, give them a chance to speak. So it was just communing with nature and being in such a peaceful area. It was, I think, therapeutic for so many of them, and you can tell that they really appreciated it. So from the time we got there to the time we left, I mean, it was we went 1,000 miles an hour. I'm still recovering. I'm pretty sure Byron, in maybe 2 hours we were there, can see how much energy goes into maintaining discipline and keeping an eye on that many kids. And believe it or not, Byron, that's just half of them. We brought 33 kids with us. I think we have 65, 66 kids reporting this year to the program. So imagine twice that on a regular basis is what your boy deals with. So thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you to the Capital City Police who were there. I know your people probably were laughing at us the whole time. So, but with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it, fellas. Sophie's still awake, or she's on a world tour?
She might be. We're going to Six Flags in the morning because she has a friend going there. So let me see if she has gone to sleep, because they got to get up at 6 in the morning.
Flex your business with an American Express Business Gold Card. You'll earn 4 times membership rewards points on your top 2 eligible spending categories, like transit and electronics, each month, on up to $150K in combined purchases per year. Plus, you can now earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold, built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello.
Hola.
Greetings, Bonnet Sophie.
Greetings. This is a different Sophie, not the usual.
Yes. Bonnet Sophie.
Yeah, it's a different one. I got the orange bonnet on today.
Your birthday's coming up. What are you going to be like, 9-ish?
Yeah.
10?
I think I'm turning...
Yeah.
I think I'm turning
9?
10. Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
I have to give it up on trying to fight it. Why would I try to fight it? He says I'm turning 11 every time. He said I'm turning a year younger every time.
Mm-hmm.
Can't fight anymore.
I know it's 9 or 10. I haven't figured it out.
I think it's 10.
It's got to be 10 because you're older than Sky. I know that much.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with 10.
Yeah.
Final answer.
Yeah. Going to middle school.
If you can't beat him, join him.
She had band camp this week. It was like, woo. She plays the baritone of all instruments. It's so big.
It's so big, but I have so much fun playing it. I love playing it. I love my big old.
That's
band.
awesome.
Or the baby tuba.
So is our joke going to be a band joke?
No, it's an egg joke.
Okay.
An egg joke.
What type? Yeah. What type of car does an egg drive?
Egg beater. Egg.
A Volkswagen.
Yeah, I like that. I can.
Guys couldn't win this time.
That.
Maybe next week.
I can underdig
or
that.
hopefully never. You guys can't beat me.
All right, y'all go get in the bed. Y'all go to sleep, so y'all can get up in the morning.
We can't beat her.
Can't beat him, join him.
Yep.
Alrighty. Who's it on this week?
I can't remember.
Far to remember.
I know.
I think it's me.
I feel like somebody didn't get a question though.
Yeah, I think it was
me.
Ferg.
I feel like I didn't. So my question is, I don't know if we've asked this before, but I saw a video today, and there's always to talk about black women not getting married, yada 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 yada, and then you hear those conversations where somebody can date somebody for years, never get married, they break up, and then they go date somebody for 6 months, get engaged, and then they're married within a year. I'm pretty sure you've heard that argument or that story before, correct?
Yep.
So my question is somewhere around there, where there was a video and it was a young lady saying, why are people always asking the woman who's been with a man for a long time why they aren't married yet? It was more so asking, why aren't we asking the men why they haven't proposed to these women and why they're not married yet? And she basically asked men, why weren't they putting pressure or holding their men friends more accountable for not marrying these women, especially if they've been with them for years, they have kids together. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Why aren't you asking your homeboys who, been with a chick for 4 or 5 years, they got a family together? Why aren't you saying, hey, Byron, why haven't you married Tabitha yet?
We do.
Right.
I don't like to, from my experience, whoever the relationship we're talking about, whoever in that relationship, you ask that person. If I happen to know the guy of the relationship, like, man, damn, 10 years, y'all you don't want to marry, y'all ain't gonna get married, man.
She ain't the one, huh?
Like we don't, like, guys don't just say, bro, when you gonna marry her? We just be like, hey, man, you ain't gonna marry that girl, man? You don't want to marry like that? And we know women do it to women, but yeah, we do it.
Yeah.
Do you ask with the intention of encouraging them to marry her, or are you just trying to figure out why they haven't married her?
Nah, because I feel like if you want to marry somebody, you'll do it. So if I got to encourage you, probably not the best start to your marriage.
Right. I mean, I'm not pushing anybody into marriage. Like, I don't think that's how it goes. When he's ready, they should get married. Right. Now I have told a homeboy or two, like, dog, you're just stringing her along. You're never going to get married. And she wants to be married. Like, if she's made it known that she wants to get married and she's trying to push for it and he's not, I've told a homeboy, like, dog, just let her go. Like, don't string her along. But to your point, Buff, I counsel in private, right? You praise in public, counsel in private. That's what you do as a manager at a company. That's what you should do as a friend. I'm not going to criticize. And I think that's what happens with a lot of guys. We're not going to say that in front of females, in front of women. Right? Like, if we're doing that when we're hanging out with our boys, we smoking some cigars, or we got some beers or some drinks, and we're hanging around. Like, there's probably not going to be any women around when we have that conversation of, all right, so you just ain't gonna marry her? Like, it's been 4 years. Like, what's going on? Like,
you know what else it is too, Razi? If I see your relationship, it depends on how good I think she is to you, and how much I think you are into her. So, like, I may say something along the lines, yo, you gonna lose her, dog. If you ain't gonna marry her, she gonna leave your ass. You better you better marry that girl. Like, oh, what the else you want, man? She got a good job. She look good. She cook. Like, what you waiting on, bro? You gonna lose her? We say stuff like that. Like, trust me, ladies, we do it. We do it, y'all.
Yeah.
I appreciate the last sentiment, because I think it's not as black and white, because I don't think men romanticize about marriage as much. Mm-hmm. And we all know guys who have been in long-term relationships, and like you said, Byron, it's kind of who she is, I'm not even saying what she brings to the table, like the dynamics of that relationship, and more so him.
Yeah, because I'll tell you,
Razi,
if he's out cheating, I'm not going to push him and be like, man, you need to marry that girl. Like, nigga, you cheated. Like, what
And it's not even just cheating. We know people who just they're there because they're there, right? Like it's convenient. It's what they know. It's not that she's not the one that's going to make him want to get married.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we're real enough to recognize that, where that same relationship where it might be a woman is like, they've seen Joanne and Chris argue all the time. They got babies. They've been breaking up, yada, yada, but they're still encouraging them to get married. And in our mind, like, you're more surprised if they like, you're like, dog, I'm going to go ahead and propose this weekend. Like, really? Like, okay. Like,
yeah. Didn't y'all break up last weekend?
I think for guys, we already can tell how he feels about her and how committed he is to entering a great marriage or a potentially great marriage, like how serious he is about it. Because we've seen homeboys get married just because, but then we've also seen homeboys is like, they're with somebody, they love him, all this stuff, but it's not as great as she can be in her own personal life when it comes to their relationship. For whatever reason, he's not bought in. And I don't think we really encourage men we already know that aren't bought into this marriage thing to get married. I've had homeboys who've been dating and stuff like that, and you can tell they're entertaining the thought of marriage. They'll ask questions like, how, when did you know, and all that stuff. And so we see the signs. It has nothing to do with the timing. Like, they can be with somebody 6-10 years, they got 3-4 kids. We like, they ain't getting married. Like, you lucky, that's as good as he's gonna get in this situation, right? He hasn't. It's something about this situation, I don't know what it is, that has not caused him to want to get married. And me just saying you should marry her, and I know in my heart of hearts, or how he can be saying one thing to her, he can be saying something else to us. But if he's saying this to us, he can't be bought all the way in, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Miseducation the other day, and it's like, there was a part where she's like, well, he be saying one thing, he be fronting in front of his homeboys, and if he really loves you, he ain't gonna do that. She's absolutely right. Like, if he loves you, he's gonna be the same person. So he can be selling you the dream and trying to tell his homeboys another thing. He might really love you, but he doesn't love you enough, or he's not committed enough, or mature enough, or whatever enough to make that commitment. That for a lot of guys, the thought of making that commitment is close to a death sentence, to be honest. Like, we recognize that changes everything about dynamics of your life. Like, when you decide to be a husband, for a lot of guys, now I'm happily married, I love my wife and my kids, and I've gained so much from it. But for us, there's things that we think that we lose that have made us what we consider men up until that point of our life. Like, we readjust, men almost hold out on marriage as long as possible because they feel like they're losing part of what makes them a man. And from what I've seen, being married and having kids is one of those, it's the next step in becoming a woman. It's not what you have to be a woman. I'm not saying that's what makes you a woman, anything like that, but that's part of the maturation process for being a woman. Yeah.
Society has told
for men, it's kind of like, all right, man, you ready to slow down? You ready to, put on, get the old ball and chain? Like, it's almost like getting a sentence. And so a lot of men, if they ain't ready, if they're not sure enough about you, they're not going to commit. Ain't nothing I can say. And nothing I can say. And I already see it that, yeah, he ain't about to, hopefully she see it before they do get married and have another kid.
Yeah.
I think she might.
I think we look at it in most situations, guys think about the logical solution, right? Like, guys, most times males are logical thinkers, right? They want to go to the solution. We talk about it a lot of times. Guys don't want to have all that conversation. I don't need to know all the backstory. What's the problem? Let me try to fix it, right? Like, that's how most guys approach things. And so for us, to your point, Ferg, we're not sitting there. We don't feel like marriage is going to fix anything. Like, being married doesn't fix anything. So we're looking at it logically, like, when does it make sense? Like you said, is he asking me about marriage? Is he not cheating, right? Is he not stepping out? Is he saying, nah, I can't hang out with y'all because I'm hanging out with my lady? Like, if he's like, oh, I'm down to go wherever y'all at anytime, and my lady is second to me, then it's not time. I'm not going to be pushing him to marry her, because like, he don't even want to spend time with her. Like, he trying to go out every time we trying to go out, right? I mean, so that I think it just comes down to guys are going to look at it, and we're just going to be more upfront about it and logical about the decision to push our friends, versus, to Buff's point, it's, you know, y'all been dating 6 months. Time says that y'all should be getting serious. Y'all been dating for a year. You should be looking at marriage. Like, it's almost like move to the next step, versus us. It's like we're looking at the situation and making decisions based on, like you talk about, what's happening in the situation at this point.
Especially those long-term ones, 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
We know, like, you know, if he wanted to marry you, he would have married you. Like, men make the decision to get married. It's just that simple. Men have to make a conscious decision to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to sugarcoat it. And women are proposed to. So marriage is proposed to them. So they're accepting of your proposal, or they're not accepting a proposal. So she really doesn't have, like, when people ask her that question, it's more so like, so what is not happening for him not to propose? And for him, is like, she ain't the one when it comes down to it. And I'm not ready. She's not the one, and it's not in a bad way. It's just like, she's not the one subconscious that made me want to propose.
Right. But there's also the whole cow and milk thing, right? It's like, if he's getting generally everything that he would get in a marriage, especially with these 5, 6, 7 year like relationships, y'all are probably semi-married in his mind, or as close to marriage as he's gonna get, and he doesn't have to do it. To your point, Ferg, if I don't have to do it and I'm getting everything, and you're treating me exactly that way, and you've hung around for 6 years, more than likely he doesn't see the point of getting married. So there's also that, like, you know, there's nothing that's going to change for him, and then you add restrictions on him on top of that. So there's no upside to it after 5, 6 years of being in a relationship.
Which still kind of means that he doesn't want to marry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hard truth of it, and we recognize that. Yeah. Like, if I have a homeboy that's been with a chick 5, 6 years, and the way he carries himself, if he's not like, man, if I can get this new job, dog, as soon as I get this new gig, man, or I finish school, like, I'm gonna propose to da-da-da. You feel it. He's talking about, like, he's making plans. But if there's nothing in his movement or his environment or his it's like, he's more concerned about, you know, who his NFL team going to draft this year than he is about marrying you. Like, that's real. Like, he's content where he's at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or he's just biding time. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It makes no sense. I've had I'm the guy in my friend group that a lot of people come to talk about marriage. A lot of people come to talk to me about marriage. Man, I can tell that they are wanting that next step. You know, and there's some people who've been with their lady or whatever for you. They'll walk away when we're having marriage conversations. They ain't trying to hear that. You know, it's, you know, like, that's not where their mind's at.
Right.
They're happy and content, and happy enough and content in their current situation.
Yep.
So, hope that didn't hurt anybody's feelings. Who's up next?
I can go unless you got something, Buff. Because this is more so, I want advice from you, bros. So you guys, it's, I'll paint the picture. You guys know about the new DEI laws that's going into place right now, and in Alabama. And for the listeners who might be just listening or don't know, Alabama passed anti-DEI bill, and it essentially says that no public or state funds can go towards anything what they call divisive concepts and or practices. And what that really means is that Black people can't get money that's it for anything that's just directly for them. What that means in the education space is that we have what we call Black Student Awareness Committee or Black Student Unions, things like that. They can't be funded by the school. So the schools can't have these organizations. So like at UAB, we have what we call BSAC. We have a mentoring program called B-Men, which is for Black men that started when I was in school. So it's been going for 16, 17 years now easily. And it's like for some reason, they're slashing all those like programs and everything else because of the anti-DEI bill. I talked a little bit about the scholarships that I have, and I'm not being able to get the information that I need to be able to give them to people that look like us, right? So along those lines, you guys know that I'm the president of our national alumni or our Black Alumni Network. So just our chapter, not the full National Alumni Society for UAB. And I want you guys' thoughts on what I should do. Should I stay the president and continue on as president and try to fight, collect money, things like that, so that I can try to help fund something? Or do I get on this Black Panther thing and just like, nope, I can't support this, walk away and just be like, I'm done with UAB because this money that I might or that I'm collecting, I don't know where it's going to go. It might not go to people that look like me. It might not go to help our people. And do I, Ferg, you talk about HBCUs all the time. Do I spend this energy and this time and go help Alabama State now that Haley's at Alabama State, or, FAM as my second home and start, bundling money for them. So I'm just trying to figure out what I should do, or what do you guys think, I should do with my energy and my time, because I'm torn whether I want to keep supporting UAB and the Alabama network, Board of Trustees, all of that, or do I go somewhere else?
The selfish me always going to tell you to go to HBCUs. Just because I just feel like they need more Razis. But FAMU has a Ferg.
Right.
The Razis need a Razi. So you have to continue fighting a good fight until you find out that there's no more fight left to fight. Right? Until they show you their true colors. You get knocked down, get up, fight a little bit more, and then you figure out like, hey, we have this money allocated, and I don't know if you have to figure out if you can put it in you find programs and you don't do a scholarship, you do a grant, are there ways around it? Because there's always ways around it. Mm-hmm. We're applying for grants, and you can have, grants for that just allocated for the enrichment, and you're on a board and you sit on a board and you pick who you want for this grant. It just has to be very specific, and you have to find your ways around, and you get somebody to make it work. You can do it. And maybe what you're doing is going to teach the new BSACs and the BSAs at Florida State and stuff like this. How do we get the support we need? Maybe you're the person who has to navigate that for them. The things that we used to do don't work anymore. So now we have to pull an audible and adjust, and they need you more now than they've ever needed you before. When it was just easy, this is what we do, yada, yada, yada. But now it's like nobody knows what to do, including you. And you're probably one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. So if you're struggling with that, there's no way a 20-year-old Razi, a 20-year-old Buff or Ferg can figure this out. Yeah. So that is your burden until told otherwise, and until they kick you in the mouth enough and you're like, you know what? And you start to see maybe enrollment drop. because they don't have representation and there's not a safe place for black kids and stuff like that, which I think we might see more than ever, because I feel like everybody I know that goes to a PWI, they, no matter what they say, they go to find people that look like them. They go to a BSA, they go to a BSAC, they go to something, NAACP, they find their people. And if there's nothing there and they can't get that support, sooner or later, they're going to go to some place where they do have it. But until then, keep fighting the good fight.
Appreciate it, man.
I feel like I agree with Ferg. I just want to, I guess, ask. So you're the president. You're raising this money, but you don't get to dictate where it goes because of the laws that they've passed.
Well, not necessarily. So I can semi-dictate where it goes. So like Ferg said, if we want to give it to a private or a private group, right, a BSAC, but right now they can't exist on campus because they were a school-funded organization. And so what they'd have to do is they'd have to go and put a charter in, or, you know, become a private organization and then apply to the school to be able to be present on the school as a private organization. That's what fraternities and sororities do, right? They're chapters on the school. And so that's what they'd have to do. They'd have to go and do that. Once they did that and they're part of the school again as a private organization, then as a National Alumni Society member or a chapter, I can give money to them. I can't just give money to private organizations, right? Because it is alumni money. So it has to be going back to the school somehow, or it'd be scholarships for them. And like I talked about the scholarships, I don't know if I'm giving it to a black student or not, because they won't give me the race on the applicant list. So I'm probably gonna have to do like actual outside of the school. I'll have to get applicants that way. Probably do like a private, to Ferg's point, right? I've got to figure out the workarounds around it, because I guess somebody's going to have to do it. But so I can generally say where it goes, but not like, I don't have like carte blanche.
Could one of the workarounds be like from specific zip codes or neighborhoods where you know it's predominantly black? Could you do it that way?
Yeah, so that's what we get. We do get where their hometown. But you know, if it's a pretty generic, like if it's Birmingham, chances are they're black. And, you know, versus a Vestavia or a Hoover, I know chances are like, but it's my kids would get nixed by that, right? Because it's like, that's Hoover. It's 80% white, so no, we're gonna kick them out. So my kids wouldn't get those scholarships. So it's still. There's going to be kids that are going to get pushed out just by being able to doing that. And so, and then, you know, you never know. It might be a white Mike that, you know, he grew up in the neighborhood, but he's a white kid. And so we end up giving it to him, which, you know, I think that's okay. But at the same time, it's still not really the intent of what we're trying to do.
Gotcha. I'm with Ferg. I like how he broke it down, man. And because I was originally with, you know, like everybody wants to see the world burn. Let's go to the HBC. But I think he made a valid point, man. So you just gotta fight the good fight, bro.
For me, I always think about where would I be if I had a me in my life, right? Where would you be? Or, you know, can you be the Razi that somebody at UAB needs? You know, and it might be as they go back and form that organization and they become a nonprofit on campus, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
They're going to need a board, and maybe certain people from the National Alumni Association, Black Alumni Association, sit on that board, and they can apply for grants. And the National Alumni Association can give a grant to this organization, and then the organization can hand out that money. Because it's still going to be a tax write-off regardless and all the same things. But you just got to find a way to work it and put it back maybe in the hands of the students. And the board can... Razi is the president of the board of the Black Alumni Association. But Byron is president of the board of BSAC, right? And he also has a seat he's a member at large or a chairman, and his chair could be the BSAC chair, and he's a president of the board for that. And, you know, his organization asks for a grant. Your organization gives a grant to this specific organization, and then that organization, being a nonprofit, can go and divvy it out to have scholarship funds for people who are members of that organization, or if there's a scholarship thing they give out, something along those lines. I don't know the details. I'm still learning this board and all this stuff, but you're gonna have to figure it out and fight until they don't let you fight anymore. And at the end of the day, you know, if you fight for 3 years, 4 years, and it, you know, then you have to readjust, the people that you help in those 3 or 4 years will be forever grateful.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that from both of you guys, because I was really torn. Like I started with, it's like, do I fight this fight or do I just say screw it, right? And it sucks because there's Black kids on UAB's campus that right now are losing all kind of services, and I see it and I feel for them. And so, you know, it encourages me to think about. I'm that person that could help, right, and figure it out. So I guess that's what I'll do. So y'all gonna hear me complaining for the next few weeks as I try to figure this out with them. So, but appreciate the input, man. You're on mute, Ferg.
I said, of course, you know, that's what I'm here for, man. Good luck in your journey. I know when you're trying to do the right things and you have obstacles in front of you that should not be there, it's so tough.
Yep.
So I deal with that a lot, and it can definitely be discouraging. But when you see the end product and you see the changes that you help make in the lives you affect, it'll all be worth it at the end. So with that being said, Buff, you got a question for us, or do we need to go ahead and wrap it up for today?
I think we had an hour now.
Yeah, we're at the time, yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and close it out, fellas.
Yeah. First thing I want to say, Contentville, what up? And to invite everybody that's listening out to the second annual Sisters for Life Health and Wellness Expo. So August 10th, I'll be down there. I'm hosting one of the panels. So I'm going to be walking around, come up to me, speak, take pictures, do all that good stuff. But just make sure you come out on that. So you can go to Inspire You on Air on Facebook. They've got a whole bunch of links out there so you can buy your tickets and make sure you come out for that. And secondly, I just want to say, I thought we were going to be recording Wednesday and I was going to be able to say, you know, happy birthday, Jen, before. But even then, happy belated birthday, heavenly birthday to Jen. She would have been, I don't even know how old she would have been at this point. But either way, she would have been a year older if she was able to be here. So shout out to her. And man, I just want to say, sometimes I forget that how affected the kids have been. We were sitting there and just joking around, and you know the scene from I think what movie is it, where he was like, "We want to see a dead body," or have you ever seen a dead body? Boys in the Hood. Yeah, Boys in the Hood. That and somehow that came up, and so somebody said that. I think it was Leah. Leah said that, and she was doing all his hair, and we were joking, and she was like, and she was, we were talking about the Kamala, and when the debates come, and we were like, she's gonna kill Trump, whatever, and then Leah was like, you know, have you ever seen a dead body? And Ollie was just sitting there, and he was like, yeah, and just kept going, doing what he did, and I was like, oh man, that just hurt so bad, bro. And like, it was everything I could do to just like hold back tears on it right there with him, but he just like kept going like nothing had. And I was just like, geez, this kid has experienced so much, you know, at only 10 years old, man. So I just want to say, don't overlook and ignore the kids' experiences, and don't forget that they've experienced things. And so hug on your babies, love on your babies, man. And just check on them, make sure they're all right at all times. So, but I wanted to share that story because it hurt my heart, and I was like, y'all gonna feel this too. So, but that's all I got, man. That's it.
Sheesh.
Yeah, follow that up, Buff. Right.
Phew, man. Damn, man. All I got is we've talked a lot about the WNBA, and they have just signed a new media contract to where their revenue will go from 60 million to 200 million. And that is, I think, a huge step for them. That's more than 3 times what they're making now. And it looks like the excitement was just more than a blip. It looked like it possibly could be sustained. Their All-Star game last year, 1.4 million viewers. This year, 3.4. So they almost tripled it. So that's good to hear. I've enjoyed watching them. Even though I'm a Chicago Sky fan, that Asia Wilson, man, that girl can ball. That girl can ball, man. They really have some talent in that league, man. And I'm telling you, I'm a Angel Reese fan, but Caitlin Clark is going to be as advertised. Like, she's just a rookie now, but that girl can pass. Her shooting is going to get better. And she's going to get separation from defenders better. It's going to be interesting to watch. Ferg talked about it at the top of the show. I was going to give him flowers at the end, but it's one thing to hear about what you do with the lamplighters and see some of the posts on Facebook. It's another thing to like see it in person and just see, what you guys are doing with those young men and just the command presence you guys have on them. Like, whenever it felt like they was getting a little, like, starting to get like what normal teenagers would do, I don't even know what y'all would say for it. It was some kind of command y'all would yell out. What was it?
All eyes on me.
Yeah. All eyes on me. And then they would repeat something and like everybody would just be quiet and like damn near stand at attention, man. I personally was grateful that they seemed appreciative of the tour at that age. Going to a Capitol, it's kind of hit or miss on whether or not a teenager will appreciate that. And, like I try to stress to them, they were seeing things that not normal tourists get to see. And they, unless they did a great acting job, they really seemed to appreciate it, wanting to get pictures with the parliamentarian. That was really, really dope, man. So I just want to tell you, man, it was great seeing you and some of the other bros and what you guys are doing. You don't have to do it. And I just can't say enough good things about you, man. It was awesome to see in person, man. So glad I got to see you, man. And I'm glad I got to see you in action, bro. That was
appreciate
dope, bro. It. Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, I got to see Razi last year, and I got to see you this year, so it was great.
So y'all got to do what? Jacksonville next year, right? See, cool, right?
Oh man, but we can't make it back to Florida. We gotta do Texas or Atlanta next. But so we do Atlanta, we're gonna see Bruce.
There you go.
That is. Man.
We're debating. We're trying to. I've been on a lamplighter hiatus because they took everything out of me.
Yeah.
Those 5 days straight.
Look, our weather was not. It was just as hot here as it was in Houston.
Man, it was crazy from the time we landed. But for me, you had anything else, Buff?
One other thing. Razi mentioned DEI stuff, and I just want to look, man. I was reading the article. It's just amazing how there are so many layers to racism and discrimination. And, you almost want to cry when people say, we don't need DEI, we don't need affirmative action, because I think some people really believe that. I think some people, if you're not living this black life, it's easy for you to say, man, y'all done had a black president, you got black CEOs, black billionaires, black millionaires. What's the problem? Slavery was over 400 years ago. I don't get it. You got to live this life to know there are so many layers to this, man. Just you look at how they do home appraisals, and we talked about this on the show, I think, at least once. Like, even something like that you won't even think about. The studies have shown I read this story where they did like a 10-year study, and just like it's been reported before, all the black homes were appraised much lower than white homes, and in some cases it was actually a black home. They put white pictures in there, and then it appraised more than it did when the black pictures were in there. So every avenue, every phase, man, it's like they get us. Like, we have so many battles we have to fight. It's fucking exhausting. It's exhausting just explaining it sometimes. So I just want to let people know, man, if you're exhausted, I know why. But we just got to keep fighting the fight, man. And when people say, we don't need DEI, we don't need these things, it's not about handouts for black people. It's about trying to make the fucking playing field even.
Well, on a similar note, sticking with the lamplighters, it was so crazy because people's perception of black youth, young black men, I cannot count how many times over this weekend we asked, what team do we play for? Basketball, football, track. These little niggas got to be something other than who they were. And I actually had to get on one of them because he went along with it. He said we were a traveling basketball team going to play someplace. And I'm like, don't ever do that again. If you do that again, you can take that shirt off. Right. Because this is your chance to show them that we're more than what they think we are. And from that point on, when they ask, my young man would just say, oh, no, we're the Houston Omega Lamplighters. We're a mentoring organization. We're actually on a college enrichment tour. We're doing and they were able to say, we recently visited the Capitol. We doing the White House this week. They were able to articulate that, and you saw the look on people's faces when they said it. And I'm like, I can't believe it's 2024. And anytime you see young black men, that's the only thing they can be, is our athletes. So we got a long way to go.
Definitely.
I had a couple of things. One, when this show drops, it will be July 29th, and it will be my mother's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom.
Birthday, Mom.
Get to see you soon. She's coming up here Tuesday. I think she's officially retired. So congratulations on your retirement as well. She's coming up here for a couple of days, or probably like a week and a half. Z and I are getting ready to celebrate our anniversary. We're going on a cruise. And so thank you, Mom, for that. And happy birthday. And last but not least, I'm ready for the Olympics, people. I'm ready for the Olympics. It's going to be very interesting. I feel like every year, every Olympics, the world gets tougher. People are catching up with some of the sports that the U.S. has dominated in, and so it's not as easy to feel confident with some of our matches, especially with men's basketball. I'm getting so tired of the argument about, and as much as I love the Dream Team, I think people have to realize that the rest of the world has caught up with us in basketball. And as great as the Dream Team was, I don't know if they would win it all. I don't know if they won it all. I don't think they would be dragging people by 40, 50 points like they did in the past, because even though the U.S. men's team has not lost a game, people are upset with their margin of victory.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are just clowning them. And I'm like, when is a win is a win not a win anymore? It's right. You got to win by 40 points. Are we just still that arrogant? Do we still believe that America is just that far past everybody, and I think it's a reflection on not just basketball, but on life and the American perspective of the world. Is we just assume that we're that much better than the rest of the world, and the rest of the world's like, nah, dog, we could play too. And so,
I saw a metric. I saw a metric that said that the Dream Team played 5 NBA like starters or 5 NBA people, and that was it. That came from the rest of the world, and now it's over like 50. So people that play in the NBA, so the best basketball players in the world, they're going back to their countries and they're playing for their countries now. And so they're, the Dream Team isn't the only NBA players that's in the Olympics now. So it's a different playing field.
NBA, you have professional basketball around the world. Mm-hmm. Some of the top draft picks in the last couple of years have come from overseas. What's buddy?
Wimby.
Wimby. I'm glad you said it. I'm about to come that boy with Tombo. Wimby.
I think
Wimby 4 or 5 of the last MVPs are foreigners. So when you look at basketball, like, it's just very arrogant for us just to think we're just that much better than everybody else consistently. It may be on a one-on-one, but when you say these teams get to play together, a lot of them have bonds and they've done this before. We put together our teams every year. If you're playing on the German basketball team. So I hope we win it all. I'm looking forward to, basketball, men and women's, of course, track, swimming, gymnastics. I just love to see what we can do. So hopefully we'll bring home a bunch of goals. I always get nervous about the medal count. I don't know why. I do want us to be better than the rest of the world, but I get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not as good as we think we were. So, anything else, fellas? With that being said, 3 Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I'm Tavares Ferguson. See you next week. 6 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. We out.